Dr. Ayodeji Ebo is currently a principal consultant and investment professional. He is a principal consultant with MDU Consulting and led Insight Limited, a non-executive director of Sigma Alpha Asset Management Limited, and a partner and advisory board member, Rob FinTribe Limited. He is also a postgraduate finance lecturer at James Hope University, a part-time and adjunct lecturer at the University of Ibadan, and founder of the Get Finance and Investment Tips, an investment education community over 8,000 members focused on financial literacy, investment discipline, and long-term wealth creation. He has produced the weekly business and investment tips podcast for Redeemed Christian Church of God, Christ Church, for about 6 years. Please, if your hands are not too busy, can you put your hands together for him? Ayodeji was the pioneer managing director, chief business officer of Plotus Neo by Afrivest, formerly Optimus by Afrivest, a digital investment platform powered by Afrivest West Africa Limited. Prior to this, he headed retail investment at Chapel Hill, Durham. Earlier, and Afrivest, he served as managing director of Afrivest Securities Limited, head of investment research, and worked in the investment banking division. He has over 19 years of experience across business and investment strategy, capital markets, asset management, fintech, economic research, investment advisory, portfolio management, and financial sector development. His earlier career includes Greenwich Merchant Bank as head, investments and strategy chief economist, Intercontinental Securities Limited in investment advisory, equity, economic research, and portfolio management for Stress Capital Limited, and Marina Security Limited, now Coronation Security Limited. Ayodeji has strong quantitative financial modeling, analytical portfolio management, and strategy execution capabilities supported by local and international training in financial market, risk management, business strategy, and investment analysis. Please, once again, can we give a round of applause to Dr. Ayodeji as he's going to take us further virtually in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you. Sir, can we have you now?
Some of the things I will be dropping, that we'll be discussing today is just some of these few points. And firstly is why this matters. If you can see my slide, I say why this matters right now and why you should start. The first thing I want to challenge us with this morning and I want to ask us this question. How many of you have said at some point this year, I will start investing when I have money? That's always, because I discuss with people a lot, procrastination, or they are waiting until you have a lot of money before you start. But there's a principle to this investing. You know, there's a science to everything that works on earth here. So, and I want to help us or prompt us this morning that you don't need more money to start. You need to just start with what you already have. So you know that these days now, if you look at the screen, that with as low as 100 naira, you can open a mutual fund account in Nigeria and begin to build up. This is not a typo, or you see it as a sale gimmick, but that is the reality, because once you are able to start, it will also help you. Secondly, there are a lot of government issued instruments that are save that you can invest, and ranges between, you can get between 13 to about 18%. That in itself, I'm going to show us a slide that will show us the impact of compounding. This is not speculation. And what I would say thirdly is that, because I know I'm speaking to very young people in their 20s and 30s, and the greatest asset that I would say you have with you now is the time. So that decision, you need to make that decision now to begin to invest. And I thought this next slide is just to briefly show us how the trend of the market is. So you would see that over time, you see markets, especially the equity stock market, it goes up and down. But we've seen over the long term, it continues to deliver value. We've seen there are stocks that have gained minimum of 1,000%. These are strong stocks. 2 years ago, MTN, for instance, was around 200 naira. And people that bought into it, the stock is almost at 800 naira. That's 400%. And I know what will come to your mind. How do I know these good stocks? And what I always say is that don't see it as you are buying a stock. See it as you are buying into a business. So when you are buying into a business, you know that you need to understand what they do. So I don't need to convince you much before you put your money in Dangote Cement, in GT Bank, because you can see what they do. Not all of us will be financially savvy to look at all those ratios. But if you stay with even those that you understand their business, you even look at abroad, some of you are using Apple phones, you use Microsoft, do you have their shares? Go and look at how they've performed over the years. These are the ways to build long-term wealth. And what you will keep hearing that I will emphasize on is your greatest asset, which is your time. Time is the greatest asset to invest in. You would see why I will continue to emphasize that even as we progress. So this next slide is just talking briefly on where you can put those money. So first, you need to have decided that you want to be putting something aside. And we have started with that. There's nothing too small to start with. Even if it's 1,000 naira, it is 5,000 naira. Start this month. This is the end of the month for those that are working. Make up your mind what you want to deduct. Don't say it's not enough, that your expenses is even more than your income. What you need to do as you have to be determined to look at, is it 5%? If you have not started at all, 5% of your income, you earn 100,000, you earn 200,000. 5,000, 10,000 is not too much to set aside because of the day of emergency, the day of the unplanned. So when you look at it, you look at money market funds, and they invest in, this is a collective investment scheme where you invest as low as 1,000 naira. You can put your money, you can earn between 13 and 16% on an annual basis, but it's subject to the performance of the instruments or the yield environment in that year. But the last 2-3 years have been around 16 to 20%. So you would imagine you put in 100,000, you get additional 20,000 on the 100,000, and the next year you put in 120 plus the additional you put. That is the way your interest is earning interest and your money is working for you. This one, you don't need to keep money in your savings account. Inflation is not your friend. Your money will continue to depreciate or to lose value, if I put it that way, if you continue to keep that. Spoken about FGM bonds, this is like you are giving your money to the government, and you can earn at least between 15 and 17%, or sometimes as high as 20% if you have the volume. Nigerian equities is an area, because you are doing long term. I was working on my kids' portfolio this morning that I've been building over the last 11 years for them. Can see some stock are 1,000%, some are 4x, and their dividend that they've collected so far this year, I've just transferred it back to the company so that on Monday I will reinvest for them, because they have the time. The time is their greatest asset, and time is your greatest asset. So when you invest in that, you also look at mutual fund. So it's important that you note some of these things. So this is the slide I'm going to spend and to show us this slide. If actually you are seeing my slide, most time when we talk about investment, it starts very slowly. It's not always very encouraging when you start. It's not always very encouraging. So you need to, what I've used here is you are investing 20,000 monthly. If you don't have 20,000, you can do the math and do 5,000 monthly. This is just fixed income. I'm not talking about equities that can give you 100% once in a while. But I'm using this is like a pessimistic approach. That's what I would say, because with this, even if you don't want to know anything about investment and you're just putting your money and you keep adding the interest, what makes this work faster is that you are not taking out the interest. Because once you see it, like you have planted a tree and it's bearing fruits, if you keep taking out the fruits, or taking out the stem that bears the fruits, then it will reduce its capacity to produce. So when you see the first year, the 10th year is always very discouraging. You are wondering, why am I saving? Why this thing is not yielding as much result? But when you look at 40 years, if I tell some of you now that you will have 470 million in 40 years, that means, let's say you are 25, in 40 years, as you are 65, you are about to retire or you are retired, you would see that while you think, okay, inflation, inflation might have eaten into it, but the rate at which it grows is significantly higher than inflation, because the interest over the years have been earning interest. That is the magic, Albert Einstein said that the eighth magic of the world, which is compounding. It's that consistency. And what I want us, if we are not going to take anything away because of my time, is that you need to just start small, start now. The market rewards patience far more than the perfect entry time. So you need to just start. And quickly, as I try to wrap up, is that these are some of your I call these first 4 moves into the market. And you look at the first one, which is to build an emergency cushion. You need to have it. If you are just working, start saving, we say between 3 or 6 months, funds that will cover your basic or your mandatory expenses. You need to set it aside before you start you start investing. Secondly, open a regulated account. So you look at those that are SEC licensed, a stockbroker or fund manager that has platforms. That has platforms that are regulated, that you online platform. Then you open an account with them. It doesn't take a lot. You can do that this weekend. Then start with what you have. And diversification is very key. You need to diversify. Some of you may need to automate what you want to invest. Then there's also a need, as I've told you about investing. Some of the mistakes people have made, some of you don't need to go through those mistakes again. Stop chasing high guaranteed return. When you see some of you have heard of MMM, different schemes. People lose money. If they set it up on Monday, I'm sure a lot of people, trillions will still go into that. You to stop chasing. When you hear high return on a monthly basis, you need to understand what they do. And also, don't invest without having an emergency fund. Like currently the stock market is down in the last 4 or 5 weeks. If you have put your short-term money, you may be forced to sell at a loss. That doesn't mean that market will not go up again. But if you don't set up and have emergency funds, then that can happen. Then always do your research. Don't follow apps. And also, it's good to have said invest through regulated channel. That is very key. And that's the best way to protect yourself. And to wrap up, what I want us to go with is that ensure that this week you open an account with a regulated firm. You commit your fund. If it's a minimum of 5,000, or say on a minimum, you just start, even if it's 1,000. start, because the secret is the discipline and the consistency. So once you commit to it, I think the rest will be fine. And also join a community that you're able to access and learn and learn. That's where I will put it. And I want to thank you once again for this opportunity. And I look forward to hearing positive news concerning us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayodeji, for that wonderful teaching. Thank you. I think we all understood what he said. Do we? Is there anything that did not get from everything he said? That means we understood everything he said. What if you want to ask us a question? Can you answer? For majority of us that were here from the initial point. Okay. So I think we all understood what you said. But do you have any single question you want to ask us? Just one question.
Okay, so I would just want to ask, what do we understand about stock or stock investing? If anybody there can talk about stock investing.
Our pastor wants to answer. Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right. Good morning. Actually, stock investment is buying of shares of company. So some companies sell share, as in it's like you're paying for a stake in their company. So at the end of a financial period, they would give you something they call a dividend. That is like your profit from their own profits, because at the end of the year, or a financial year, they usually declare a profit. So part of it, there's a percentage that goes to you as an investor in that particular firm. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's really very wonderful. Yeah, so thank you very much, and thank you, everyone.
Okay, somebody else want to put more light on it. Thank you. You can have it, sir.
Okay. Yeah, good morning, Tim.
Yes, sir. I just want to say my own point. I'm not trying to correct her. So buying shares is buying a portion of a publicly traded company, whereby you are liable to be part of that company, even in their meetings and their dividends sharing. So that's just what I want to add, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's a great addition. So it gives you the opportunity to attend what we call annual general meetings. So you are buying a stake. And what I will just emphasize is that it's like you are buying into a business. So don't buy what you don't understand. Don't buy into what you cannot explain. That's like the simple way to know what to buy, because what will be in our mind is, okay, how do I know a good company? You can know a good company by knowing and understanding what they do and the opportunities that is available for those companies in the future. Cement, we know a lot of people are building houses, roads are using it. So I don't need to see financial before I buy cement company. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having you, Dr. Ayodeji. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And enjoy the rest of the program.
And you too. Thank you, sir. Please, can we put our hands together for him once again?